Douthy freaking Voidwalker, am I right? Look what it did. How could you betray us? Hello and welcome, everybody. We are back here for a new league with the list that you see on screen. Link to the deck list in the description below as well. Before we dive into the details of this list and what's going on, I do want to mention that I'm currently in a bit of a life overhaul at the moment. As you can tell by the change in background, that I'm not currently in my preferred recording settings. And in fact, unfortunately, because of school, I may end up having to discontinue some YouTube content for a while. That's just the nature of what's going on in my life, and unfortunately, my school has to take precedence, so we'll see how that goes. This very well might be the last league that you see from me for a while, and if that's the case, my apologies, but we are plugging along here, at least for this week, and maybe as long as I can keep it going, we'll see. And the list that you see in front of you here is what I would consider to be my personal FNM list, quote-unquote. If I were to play in an event tomorrow, then this is pretty much the 75 that I would register, and by pretty much I mean exactly, card for card. And there are some interesting card choices and decisions being made for that reason, and I'll talk a little bit about why this is the list I would register in a local meta. First of all, the very first thing I want to mention is for Arboreal Grazers. Not only is this currently standard in Amulet overall, but especially at local metas, I would be playing 4 copies of Arboreal Grazer, just because lots of people at the local level will be playing on some sort of a budget or just trying to play rounds really quickly as they have jobs and lives and things they want to do other than play Magic, but they also just don't want to have to put a whole lot of mental effort into their rounds, and for that reason, you will very frequently see things like Boros, Burn, and Prowess at the local level, not just because of the fact that those decks are very fast and consistent and cheap, but also because sometimes they can give a player a bit of a mental break, or they're also very great introductory decks for newer players, so you'll see them being lent out to players who are not really modern players, they just wanted to play for the night. So it's very common to see very fast and aggressive decks like Boros Burn and various types of prowess strategies. And this does even apply to Hammer Time. A lot of times, players in local scenes will want to be committing very heavily towards killing your opponent quickly, because otherwise the rounds can drag on for a long time, especially when you do them all in one setting like at an FNM. Something like Arboreal Grazer is going to be extremely useful in that setting. Another thing that I want to mention is the fact that I'm playing not only 3 copies of Relic of Progenitus, which is pretty standard in Amulet, but I'm also packing 2 copies of Tireless Tracker in the sideboard. This is not one that has been seen a whole lot recently, but has in the past been a staple of the Amulet sideboard. The 3-mana 3/2 that gives you a clue for every land drop you make, and whenever you sacrifice a clue to draw a card, it'll get a +1/+1 counter as well. This card tends to be a very strong card against the mid-rangey, Thoughtseize type of mid-range decks, things like Jund mid-range, for example. These are the types of decks that people just love to play, and especially at a local level where the best decks in the meta are not always present, and even if they were, some people just don't care. They jam the decks that they love, just like us Amulet players as well. Something like a Tireless Tracker becomes very appealing. Who does not love a good Thoughtseize mid-range deck? I just feel like in almost every local meta, somebody's going to be playing Thoughtseize and Tarmogoyf in the same deck, regardless of how good it is, and that's just the nature of things. And because people like to play these slow and more prodding mid-range decks, then I want to have access to Tireless Tracker. Would I do this in the meta at large? I don't know, maybe, maybe not. Unholy Heat is pretty big, but regardless, here we have them in the sideboard for this list, the FNM list. And then the last thing really to note, other than the fact that we're playing 3 relics, which is pretty standard, is the 3rd copy of Force of Vigor. In a local meta, I do expect to see people on those very fast, aggressive strategies that are likely to have things like Blood Moon, Alpine Moon, but also people do like their prison decks. You'll occasionally see people playing some Urza, like Whir-type prison decks, which are more uncommon, but you'll also see people playing random things like Ponza, like Eldrazi-tron, all kinds of stuff that, while not necessarily the biggest presence in the meta, are very fun and very nice to play at the local level, and have their good old lock pieces. Things, especially like Blood Moon, are likely to show up at a local level. There's always going to be that one player who just rocks Ponza every time, or that opponent who still wants to play turn 2 Desperate Ritual into Blood Moon. You'll find people like this, and if you know them, you know what I'm talking about. So we are playing a 3rd copy of Force, also because it does damage against those aggressive Hammer Time type strategies, which I already covered when I was talking about Grazer. And then the last thing that I want to mention is that I'm playing a 2nd copy of Cavern Souls in the main board and shipping the Radiant Fountain to the sideboard. in a normal list, I would probably still be playing Radiant Fountain in the sideboard just because I think that Urza Saga heavily reduces the need for a mainboard Radiant Fountain, as most of the time against decks like Burn, you'll just double Amulet combo your opponent straight to death and not be in any danger of being burned out. But I've chosen to include specifically a Cavern of Souls, not only because there are going to be a few people playing the perceived best deck of the format, which I think right now is Blue-Red Murktide, but also because, like I said, one of the most liked strategies in Modern, even if it's not necessarily that great, is Blue-White control. Of course, you'll see people jamming straight Blue-White. You'll see Blue Moon on occasion, Thing in the Ice type strategies. You'll see Murktide, all kinds of blue interactive decks that just play the sweet cards like Cryptic Command that people just want to play, and you will see that kind of thing at the local level, because people ultimately are there just to have fun, for the most part. And so, having a second Cavern in the main board really helps with those types of matchups. Everything else I would say is pretty standard, so if you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. And without further ado, let's jump straight into match 1 here. Alrighty, let's hop in here for the match. See if we lose the dice roll like every single round 1 in every FNM event you ever play. It always happens. It's a guarantee. We're on the play. I hardly believe it. Of course, we'll click yes to that one. Our opponent has revealed a Lurrus of the Dreamed In. Curious things. We get to play a turn 1 Saga, turn 2 Explore, and a bounce land to pick up a Breeding Pool, I guess, and then turn 3 float, fetch an Amulet, play bounce land. I guess we'd have to draw an Azusa, a Summoner's Pact, or a Grazer for this to be a turn 3 Titan, but I mean, it still feels very strong, and we have several redraws, not only from our draw step after our opponent passes, but also from the Explore, of course. So we'll lead on turn 1 Saga here. Turn 1 Blood Crypt. Thoughtseize. They probably should take Explore here, to be honest. We'll see what they choose to take. They could take Primeval Titan and hope that we just don't top deck a replacement. That's reasonable as well. They take Dryad. Not the pick I would have taken, but what do I know? Another bounce land. Not helping a whole lot here, but that's alright. Stopped in the draw step here. They're going to Thoughtseize, Surgical Extract our Dryad? Like, why are they stopping our draw step, huh? What you doing over there? Well, by life totals, we're already winning, since we're at 18 and they're at 16, which means we're officially better than them. We'll explore here. Head out the Growth Chamber to get T-West Transmuting Mana in play. And by that, I mean make progress towards having enough blue. And we'll leave the Saga in play because we want to get an Amulet with this one, I dare say. And again, still an Azusa or a Grazer or a Summoner's Pact off the top makes this a turn 3 Titan if our opponent doesn't have anything else to do. We might just run face first into another Thoughtseize, and that would be kind of tragic, but I suppose if we drew Azusa, they could, like, Unholy Heat the Azusa. So if we do draw a Pact, it's going to be right to Pact for a Grazer, assuming that we can make all the green mana that we need, so that our opponent can't have a removal spell to stop us from getting our Titan into play. Like a Bolt or something. Alright, Dalthing in play doesn't really bother me. We need a Pact, Grazer, or Azusa off the top, or Amulet. Lots of draws. Another Titan. Not quite doing it for me. I think we're going to make a guy here. And we'll sack this Saga. Crazy question. Are we supposed to not get Amulet here? I think that's a little too spicy for me to get something like Relic. Because otherwise we're just really behind. We have no ways to ramp here otherwise. So I think we need the Amulet, sadly. Map doesn't really do much. Yeah, I guess it's just Amulet. That'll also enable us to beat our own Primeval Titan if they Thoughtseize it and then put it into play with Dalthy, so... And of course, we're just going to play out a tap land here. It'll untap thanks to the Amulet, and we'll pass back. Yeah, if they Thoughtseize a Titan and then put Titan into play with Dalthy, the only way we can realistically try to race that is with a Titan that has an Amulet. I'm sure you guys know what I mean. We'll see if they have another copy of Thoughtseize. They could, like, K-command to kill the construct and blow up the amulet. They have another Thoughtseize. Okay. Well, I guess the second Titan was a pretty good draw in that case. I guess it still would have been better to draw a Grazer so we could just play Titan that very turn and not run into Thoughtseize at all, but oh well. We can still, again, top deck Grazer or Azusa and still be pretty fine here. Or Pact, or second Amulet, or many things. Actually, I guess it's really not or many things. It's just Amulet, Pact, Grazer, Azusa. That's basically it. Our opponent is thinking to themselves right now, who's this Primeval Titan deck now? That's what they're saying. That's what they would have been saying at FNM too. Like, we are the Primeval Titan deck. Castle Lochthwain to draw some extra cards and lose some life. And Shizo Death Storehouse. Target legendary creature gains fear until end of turn. So, of course, I'm going to assume that this means our opponent's playing Ragavan, because that helps them get Ragavan through potential blockers, of course. And, yeah, I guess we're just playing Garenbrig and passing. Yep. That's all we got. Not attacking with Construct into the Primeval Titan, of course. Bolt Construct. You got it. They have instant creature sorcery land, so if we do play a Titan, it's likely just going to die to Unholy Heat, but we'll see. I'm not sure if Titan resolving and setting up like double Saga or something would even be able to beat our opponent's Primeval Titan at this point. Maybe, maybe not. It also depends on what they do. How much they tap here. If they even leave just a single red up, we definitely have to consider running into... Oh, Turok. Is this at random? Okay, they didn't hit the Titan. Whew. Thank goodness. Yeah, I mean, at this point, we might just have to accept that if our opponent has the Unholy Heat, then we're just going to lose. Which I'm not really opposed to doing. Admittedly, hasting our Titan and attacking for 8 isn't actually going to kill our opponents. We'd have to draw an Azusa or something. Yeah, an Azusa or something like that in order to actually attack with our Titan. Is Azusa actually good enough to attack and double strike, I mean? I'm not sure that it is. Saga. That one's interesting. Well, I mean, that's way better than playing the Cavern, of course. So we'll play that. And we do have a Titan that we're going to play. Our opponent may not even force us to choose whether we're hasting our Titan or not, depending on when they time their Unholy Heat. If they do it in response to the trigger, which would be the incorrect move, then they would give us the forewarning. Because now, if we choose to get the Garrison and the Stronghold and haste, we're playing into Unholy Heat. But if we choose not to, then we're not pressuring our opponent's life total. So this puts us in a bit of a catch-22. Obviously, we're going to say yes to this. We could try to play it safe and get TOS plus blue bounce land, but then we'd be dead to our opponent killing our Titan and then attacking and having like a bolt or something. I don't know how likely I think that is. Admittedly, I think it's quite likely that our opponent has Unholy Heat here, but I'm not sure that we can actually beat that, so... If we just got, like, Talaria West and a bounce land, and they kill our Titan, we could use our Saga to make a creature... Wait, get a second... I guess we could get Talaria West bounce land, pick up a bounce land, then next turn we get a second Amulet after floating one, play bounce land, transmute, and probably play a Titan and haste and double strike and all the things that turn. So, unless they have exactly removal spell plus bolt, I think that the Talaria West line is going to allow us to kill them next turn guaranteedly. I think. That's what I'm going to go for. Going face first into Unholy Heat when we otherwise might just win the game by holding back here doesn't seem the most prudent. So if we pick up the Talaria West and transmute, then that exposes us to Thoughtseize and Inquisition, or like a second Turok. I guess we're exposed to second Turok anyways. We pick up Bounce Land, oh, this is only going to be taking up to 2, so we're not going to get a second Amulet. That's kind of sad. We have 3, 1, 2, 3, 4. Activate Garen Break. I think we can float and... No, wait. We don't want to pick up the T-West here. So I think we pick up the Growth Chamber, and the next turn we should still be able to transmute and cast Titan all in the same turn, if I'm not mistaken, so... And of course, we're not transmuting right now, because that would play into them having Inquisition, which otherwise doesn't matter, so... We're just going to do this, and pass. See if our opponent has the Unholy Heat or not. They have Terminate. Okay, well, I wasn't thinking about that one in particular, but that is another reason to play around it. For those of you who do not know this card, since this is the full art version, it's destroy target creature. It can't be regenerated for a black and a red at instant speed. Well, we played around Terminate also. I don't know if we're going to survive this turn, but next turn we probably cannot even afford to play around Terminate. I don't think we can win with them at 11 anyways, though. We'll see. We're searching with the Primeval Titan, of course. Down to 2. What can we do to win this very turn? It probably involves drawing, like, an Azusa or something. Or a second Amulet. They might be drawing with Locthwain here to see if they find a bolt. No, they put Lurrus in hand. Okay. They play Lurrus. Yeah, I guess our best draw is second Amulet. They play Dalthy from Grave. That's fine. They're going to shock in the Blood Crypt and represent their last card being Unholy Heat or not? Nope. Alright, so Amulet off the top, one time. Saga. Well, that's not an Amulet. We'll let this go through. 3, transmute, 1, 2, 3, 4, activate Garen Brig. Yeah, we can get a Titan into play and haste it. But it doesn't really do a whole lot. I think we're still just dead. We don't have Valakut, so transmuting for Dryad doesn't do anything. We don't have a main board Radiant Fountain, so we can't try to stabilize that way. I think we're still just dead here, unfortunately. We needed to top deck a second Amulet to be able to win from this point, so I think we're just going to game 2. That's fine. Not even show our opponent the business. Right, we want Trackers and Dismembers against our opponent's grindy Lurrus deck. We want Relic of Progenitus, of course. We want Explosives. Possibly. And they're probably playing, like, DRCs and Ragavans. So we definitely want Dismember. Explosives is a little more debatable. I think 2 is fine, but maybe not all 3. I guess they could also have Alpine Moon, which is a reason to bring in the third Explosives, probably. Actually, I don't know, maybe not. I think 2 is fine. If we were worried about Blood Moon, we would be siding in Forces and Foundation Breaker, but I don't think that we can afford to worry about Blood Moon if I'm being completely honest. I don't think Radiant Fountain is really all that impactful against them. It wouldn't have even saved us that game that we just played, so Ghost Quarter doesn't really do anything. So against them, Grazer is not fantastic, as it's just going down a card to ramp, but we have cards that replace themselves in ramp, or, you know, present threats while ramping, and things along those lines, so we don't need that. We can trim at least one Cavern. Maybe even both. I don't hate that. We could potentially trim Map, since we could just search for a Relic instead, but I don't really see the need to unless we can't trim anything else. I like trimming one Saga, just in case our opponent has got their Alpine Moon in hand and just wants to get us, or if they board in Blood Moon, which could be problematic. I like trimming one Summoner's Pact, because tapping out the turn after we pact could be a liability if our opponent, for example, Blood Moons or Alpine Moons killing a Saga to make us not able to pay, even if we had the basic forces in play, which is no guarantee. I guess we can trim a Map, as I don't think chaining Sagas is going to be a great plan against Lurrus. Because in order to do that, we'd have to get Map instead of Relic, and that allows them to just do whatever they want with Lurrus, which is probably not the plan. I guess Grazer does also block Ragavan, which might be a reason to keep an additional copy here. It's debatable. I think Azusa can go. Do we want another Grazer in here or no? I feel like we probably do. Could trim another Saga. I don't hate that. Yeah, let's just go without the Grazer. Submit. Our opponent just simply won't have Ragavan. We will not be worried about it. They'll play turn 1 Ragavan, and we'll play turn 3 Titan, and they'll lose. Be on the play. I don't know if we're supposed to be keeping all the Grazers, or as many as possible, against specifically turn 1 Ragavan. Or we could just have a hand that plays a turn 1 Grazer anyways. Admittedly, this hand is not that great. I suppose we are only 1 land away from Titan mana. And if we draw a Dryad, we have 2 Valkas to go along. Like, I mean, if our opponent thought seizes us, then we're not really doing a whole lot here, but I'm willing to give it a shot. Maybe it's dumb. Of course, we're leading on Basic Forest. They mulligan to 6. Of course, our opponent has Luris. I guess they can't have Blood Moon, but they can still have Alpine Moon. It's nice to know that they don't have Blood Moon, though. Alright, we'll lead on Forest to conserve life points. We'll put in a land that always enters tapped, so we have the freedom to shock a breeding pool later if we want to. Or need to. Three drop? Saga. I'll take it. We're going to play it out. Our opponent could have Alpine Moon, and that would be sad, but otherwise, this lets us get some bodies on the ground and search for something useful, like a relic or an amulet or whatever. We'll see if they choose to bobble here, and if so, who? Because they could bobble themselves or they could bobble us. They bobble us, so I'm assuming a discard spell is incoming. Swamp. A pretty cool swamp, if I might add. I like that one. Douthie. Interesting. Okay. So they draw from the bobble, of course. Relic. Okay. We'll let this go. We've got a couple untapped sources already ready to go here, so I don't mind playing Sunhome and playing Relic and just activating Saga for a guy, and that being the whole turn. If we top deck a bounce land, we actually just have Titan this upcoming turn. Of course, we're going to Relic our opponent now, so they don't have more options in the future. And we really hope they don't Thoughtseize away our only Titan with Douthie in play and then just get a Titan of their own. That would be pretty annoying, but I mean, there's not much we can do about it. I found Douthie to be particularly good against Amulet. Not necessarily because it's a good card in general, but because this happens frequently enough where we just happen to have actual Primeval Titan instead of a Pact in hand. I guess it could be an argument for siding out a Titan instead of a Pact, just to make it more likely that our opponent will not be able to take a Titan with their discard spells, but, I mean, we can't do anything against this Shadow creature. Only be blocked by creatures with Shadow, of course, so Graven Cairns. And no discard spell. We love to see that. We're going to activate here for a little token. Just something for our effort. If they want to kill this token, they're welcome to. I guess they could, like, K-Command to kill the Relic, and then we'd be kind of annoyed, but, I mean, like, whatever. Then we'll just rip a bounce land off the top and slam and haste a Titan, and it'll be really bad for them, so. Alright, let's see the K-Command. Kill, kill. Nope. They didn't do it. They didn't do it! There's a bounce land. Alright, interesting. Yeah, if we float and search up an amulet, they have no window to K-Command us when it matters. We'll still be able to get Titan in play and resolving. It may not be able to attack immediately, but it doesn't have to. So we are just going to go ahead and get Amulet here and not worry about the mana going to waste. And the very first thing we're going to do here is play out the Gruul Turf so that we immediately get our land drop with an Amulet in play. And this way our opponent can't stop us from making 6 mana at the very least. They could still K-Command the Amulet if they want to. Okay. We have a couple lands in hand. That doesn't mean that we don't want to have bounce land in hand also, but I think I think it's going to be fine to just pick up a land here. I'm going to pick up the Sunhome, I suppose. And here's a Titan. Okay. Trigger on the stack. See if they kill it in response or if they let us search. Once again, it's probably the correct move to just go ahead and let us search with the Titan. Because if we go to haste the Titan and they terminate it, then we get super got. Killing the Titan now just gives us free reign to just get double Saga, right? Which we might be doing anyways. I guess double Saga is really weak to them having exactly Alpine Moon off the top. Or just in hand. And, excuse me, or just in hand and they decide not to play it. But it probably would be off the top. Don't know if we want to expose ourselves to that. I guess if we had picked up the Gruul Turf, we would be able to pick up a Talari West. Potentially, and be able to transmute it after floating the T West and Breeding Pool down the line. That would have been something to think about, but I think it's probably no big deal. They can't Unholy Heat us here because they don't have cards in Graveyard. They would have to have exactly Terminate to punch us for attacking. Which makes me really want to go for it, but if we get terminated, then that's not going to be great for us. So I think we should be getting something like T-West Saga or T-West Bounce Land. If we get T-West Saga, we have to top deck exactly a Bounce Land. I mean, I guess we have Saga to work with in the meantime, and the Saga can set up... Well, it can't set up Expedition Map because we don't have it in deck. So we can't map for Bounce Land. Could map for Relic for a redraw. We could Saga for Relic, and then pop Relic for a redraw. I don't know. Weird situation. I'm kind of tempted to just attack and force them to have Terminate. They probably only play like 2, but... Ugh. I don't want to lose to it, though. And if they do have Terminate, then we end up losing to our own Titan really, really fast. So, I feel like we are supposed to be getting T-West Bounce Land and then picking up the Gruul Turf, probably. Or even just transmuting immediately, and... I don't know. I don't know if T-West Bounce Land even beats our opponent having a Terminate anyways, though, because they'll get a Titan into play, and they still have 5 cards in hand. I kind of feel like we should be playing into Terminate, but... whatever. I'm going to go for the haste. It could be wrong. And if we end up losing the match for this mistake, if it is a mistake, then whatever. Boom. Our opponent has an F6'd, but that doesn't mean that they have it. Let's see the Terminate. That was rhetorical, opponent. You weren't supposed to actually have Terminate. Alright, we'll Relic the Terminate away from their graveyard and be sad. Well, we're attacking with this construct because we may not ever get a chance to do so again. Yikes. We do have to bounce a land. Probably just picking up a bounce land is a good choice here. We might just be strongholding our construct and trying to get in as much as possible. I think probably having the lands in play is going to be important, though, so I'm just going to pick up the Valakut. We could still potentially take this game by top-decking a Pact or a Dryad. We're probably going to have to pop this Relic to find some action when we draw a land off the top, because like half of our deck is lands, so we need all the redraws we can get. Opponent is going to put Primeval Titan into play. Maybe do something else. Admittedly, they don't need to do anything else. That would probably be enough to pressure us into having to be the ones to find the answers. But, K command. Yeah, that one sucks. Still wouldn't stop us from top-decking Dryad and being in this game for sure. We could play Dryad, we could play Valakut, Dryad, second Valakut, kill the Titan. And then we wouldn't be in terrible shape. Here comes our own Primeval Titan. The only word to describe that is lovely. Alright, Dryad off the top helps to fix this. Titan off the top might race if they don't have another Terminate. Something good. Anything good. One time. Sanctuary. Alright, well, we're gonna float some colors and pop Relic, of course, and we're gonna leave the green floating. Dryad. Dryad of Elysian Grove, please. Tracker. I mean, that's something, I guess. It's definitely not nothing. It's a shame that we can't have red and white floating to haste our tracker, but I mean, admittedly, trading with a Titan probably wouldn't be the best choice anyways, so... Alright, here's tracker. We'll get a Valakut in play. And make a token and pass and see what's up. We now have to beat our opponent's Primeval Titan. Admittedly, our Primeval Titans are way better than theirs, so there's that's going for us, but... Of course, we're gonna wait until the last possible second to crack this clue, so they can't just take whatever we draw from it with a discard spell, so... Trying to avoid that, if at all possible. Dalthy freaking Voidwalker, am I right? Look what it did. How could you betray us? Another Dalthy Voidwalker? Ugh. No. I don't like it. Here's the swings for 6. I don't see a reason not to just block with a Grazer at this point, so I'm just gonna gain 3 life, I think, and move on. It's not like he even blocks the Dalthy. I guess keeping Grazer in play will help us if they top deck or dash a Ragavan. So maybe blocking just for the 3 life is not wise against specifically Ragavan, which actually makes a lot of sense to me, so I'm probably not going to block here on second thought, specifically because of that dang card. Shizo. Alright. Luckily, Primeval Titan is not legendary. Down to 11. Please just put Lurrus in hand. That's what you need to do. Croxa. Okay, that one doesn't bother me too much at the moment. I think we're pitching Breeding Pool. Probably not paying life at this point is a good idea. We're miles away from Tolarios mattering at all, so... There's a Ragavan. Look at us for not blocking with the Grazer, huh? Alright. Well, clue. Dryad? Elysian Grove. Come through. Come on. Dryad. Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Come on. No whammies, and... Dismember. I mean, that's not horrible. We're gonna start by playing a Saga here, I guess, and drawing with a tracker. We're playing Saga here because that's the land we most want in play if we don't find a Dryad. And if we do, then we can just play the Valakut as our second land drop for the turn anyways. So no big deals there. And we'll go ahead and use this for the colorless. Alright, Dryad. Come on. Explorer. Ugh, the tension. Alright. Yeah, we'll just, we'll cast that one. Gets us another clue with a tracker, too. Titan. Yeah, not super close. We'll play Sunhome and crack a clue, because we could still top deck Pact or Dryad. After we draw with the clue, of course. Boom. 6 power Tireless Tracker. How about it? Still no Dryad. Perfect. That's what we want to see. And I think we're serving. Interesting. If we have to dismember here, and we chump block the... Actually, I don't think we can afford to attack now I'm thinking about it. So I'm not going to. We'll just sit on this dismember and hope and pray. Best case scenario, they attack with the Titan, we dismember it and block with the tracker and get the Titan out of play. And take 4 from the dismember plus the 5 would be 9. I guess that would be lethal, so we can't do that. So we dismember Dalthy, trade with our own Titan, and hope that our replacement Titan goes the distance. We even just get to Stonewall this Ragavan, I suppose. Then we go down to 4. And just hope our opponent doesn't rip a removal spell for the tracker off the top. I guess they can also get back Croxa here. Well, we're going to pass for now. Dismember at the last possible second so our opponent doesn't have the information. They might think they have the leg up here, not knowing that we have Dismember, so... And we can even actually... I guess we don't have to take the life thanks to our opponent's Urborg. Got him. We only get to take 2 damage from this Dismember. So if we take 2, Plus 3 is 5, 6, 7. We could go to 1. Then we're dead to the Croxa. So we actually do have to dismember probably the Dalthy here. I mean, there's still a game here. The tracker definitely is actually keeping us in this game. It's not quite a Dryad of the Elysian Grove, but it works. We are taking 1 from the trample at the very least. They don't attack with the others. That's fine. But they do attack with the Dalthy. Right, yeah, we do have to dismember this Dalthy before any of our creatures die, so... Right, this can go through. They can grind here with the castle. Kind of sad. Our Titan can set up Bounce Land, Simic Growth Chamber plus TOS, and we pick up a non-Growth Chamber Bounce Land, and then we can transmute for Dryad via Summoner's Pact. We'll block. Okay. And then, before damage, we have to dismember the Dalthy now, so our opponent doesn't just play another Titan on us. No thank you. We do have to take 2 damage here. Please don't kill Tireless Tracker. Thank you. You don't want to do it. You never, ever wanted to do it in the first place. I guess they can't play Croxa with only 1 other card in the graveyard, huh? That might have been something to consider. I wonder what they're putting into play here. I don't know what's even exiled from us. A Relic of Progenitor? No, that one they can't do. Okay, they just chose to do nothing with it. Okay, you got it. That worked. I guess we could have blocked with the Grazer there. It would have been free and not taken the 1. Hopefully that won't end up mattering. Oh, they cast the Explorer. Okay, that makes sense. Land, that's good for us. Very good. Alright, we still want Dryad off the top. That's still a good top deck. We have Saga to make some dudes here as well. We can start swinging in with some tokens. Or we could just, play in Haste Titan. That would be good too. They put Lurrus in hand. See if they replay Lurrus. And by replay it, I mean play it for the first time. Of course. See if they just play Dalthy here again. Still, I think our best top deck would be Dryad. Looks like it's probably Dalthy. Yeah, no Thoughtseize, no Thoughtseize, no Thoughtseize, no Thoughtseize. Don't do it! Okay, Dragon's Rage Channeler. I was about to be a little unhappy. Dryad? T-West. That's close, but it's really not that close. Okay. We can let this resolve. We're gonna get Titan into play. Probably want to play the T-West anyways. We don't have Radiant Fountain. We can't block the Dalthy either. They can't get back the Croxa just yet. I guess they can replay it with Lurrus, which is kind of a problem. We don't have Bojuka Bog to stop that. We might just be dead here if our opponent sees it. They know they can replay Croxa with Lurrus, of course. Did we or did we not bring in the Radiant Fountain? We did not. This is one of the situations where it would have been relevant. What can we search for? I don't think any of our lands actually matter here. Play in Haste Titan, maybe they block. Even if they blocked it, it still doesn't matter. We don't play Crumbling Vestige, so we can't, fetch Shock for Breeding Pool to make a blue, play Titan, get Crumbling Vestige for another blue transmute. Man. I guess our line is to hope our opponent doesn't see it, huh? I guess there's no real reason to haste our Titan here, so we'll just play it. Yeah, I mean, there's really nothing we can do here. We just have to get Talaria West and a blue source, but we're just dead, pretty much, if our opponent sees the line, so... We'll try our best. We'll pick up the basic forest. Sure. And we'll play Valcut. Go, opponent. They have to realize that their Dalfi is unblockable, as well as the fact they can replay Kroxa with Luris, but I mean, maybe they don't see it. They may not see it because they're not doing anything very quickly here. Or they could be slow rolling us. Waiting in anticipation. The likelihood is that if we get to untap here, we'll probably just win. I mean, I'm not playing around them having removal for the Dryad. That might be what they're thinking about right now, is how can I beat Dryad? They could even draw with Castle Lockthwain. Nope, they cast back the Kroxa. Alright, well, they still have to attack with the Dalfi, I suppose. There's no way for us to get a non-land card in hand here, so... Oh well. Down to 2. Swing with the Dalfi and we're dead. Coolio. A little disappointing, not gonna lie. We tried our hardest, but sometimes it's not good enough. Dalfi Voidwalker is one heck of a card. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys in the next match. Let me know if you have any comments or questions down in the comments section below. And, yeah. I'll see you guys in match 2. This is Redface Menace. Signing off.